What if Dr. Doom arrived in God of War? In Castle Doom, Victor Von Doom stares at a wall of green fire that shows futures where his Earth burns. He sees gods, monsters, and cosmic storms that even the Avengers cannot stop. In old books and strange equations, he finds a root that does not belong to his world, a world tree in another reality where gods fall in endless war. He forges the world-rend engine, a metal ring of Latverian steel and rune-carved bones, knowing each use will tear at his soul and his kingdom's fate. When he powers it on, the engine screams, his armor cracks at the wrist, and a hole in reality hurls Dr. Doom into the God of War world as the breach slams open over Midgard. The sky above Midgard splits like glass hit by a hammer. A ring of green fire hangs over the Lake of Nine, right above Tyr's temple. Wind roars outward, snow whips into a spiral. A farmer near the lake drops his basket and falls to his knees, hands over his ears, as the air turns thick and buzzing. From the green ring, a figure falls. He does not tumble, he descends. Metal boots hit the stone bridge leading to Tyr's temple with a thunderclap. A wave of force rolls out cracked stone and knocks a line of frozen Draugr off their feet and into the lake. Dr. Doom stands at the center of the impact. His green cloak whips in the wind. His mask is still hard and cold. The edges of his gauntlet glow with the same strange green light as the ring in the sky. Across the water, at the cabin path leading down toward the lake, Kratos and Atreus stop walking. Atreus squints at the sky, mouth open. "Father, that's not normal," he says. Kratos tightens his grip on the Leviathan axe and says nothing. On the bridge, the farmer crawls toward Doom, bowing, eyes wide. "God?" he whispers. "No," Doom replies. "Something better. Now move behind me if you wish to live." Draugr crawl back up from the side of the bridge, bones scraping stone. Their eyes burn with sick, pale fire. They hiss and rush toward the nearest living thing, the farmer and the stranger in armor. Doom raises his left hand. A translucent field snaps into place, a hexagon pattern of hard light and crackling power. The first Draugr slams face first into the shield and shatters, ash and bone dust blowing back. More pile into the barrier, clawing, scraping, pressed tight like a wall of dead flesh. He flicks his right hand forward. Blue-white lightning in a tight beam slices through the mass, cutting a path, burning corpses to cinders. He steps into the gap, cloak trailing through stray sparks. His armor hums low, like a beast that is fed but not full. On the shore, Atreus gasps. "He's like a god, but not," the boy says. "Stay close," Kratos growls. He starts down the path at a run, snow crunching under his boots. From high above, two black ravens circle the scene. Their eyes glow a sickly yellow. One vanishes in a puff of shadow, far away, in a high hall in Asgard. Odin the All-Father sees through that raven's missing eye. He watches the strange armored man slice Draugr apart with light that is not rune, not fire, not ice. He frowns, fingers drumming on the haft of his spear. "Another god who does not belong," he mutters, "or something worse." Doom reaches the end of the bridge, where stone meets the great circular door of Tyr's temple. More Draugr climb up from the lower pillars. A huge troll, its face split by a stone plate, heaves itself over the edge, roaring, club raised. The troll swings. Doom's shield takes the hit, but the force shoves him back a full step, boots scraping. Cracks spider out from where he stands. His armor vents steam at the joints as systems adjust. He tilts his head. "A simple giant with a rock," he says. "I have fought worse." He opens his right palm. A tiny sphere of pulsing gravity forms there, dark as an empty hole. With a twist of his fingers, he slams it upward. The sphere shoots into the troll's chest and blossoms into a black well. The troll's body bends inward. Stone plate and flesh crush toward the center. Bone snaps like twigs. The monster folds into itself and vanishes into a single dark point, then winks out with a sharp crack. The shockwave knocks Draga into the air in all directions. Some slam into the lake. Some burst on the stone like rotten fruit. Codex note: Dr. Doom fuses science and sorcery in his armor, channeling forces that obey both math and spell. The green ring in the sky flickers. For a moment, Doom feels his weight double. His vision blurs. Inside his armor, warning runes and red numbers flash in front of his eyes. He steadies himself and glances at his left wrist. A hairline crack runs across the metal where the world-rend engine's power first touched him. Green light leaks from it like slow smoke. So, he murmurs, this realm resists. Good. Power worth taking always does. Boy, Kratos says, as they reach the thick stone of the bridge. Arrow, ready. Atreus knocks an arrow and nods, eyes darting between the stranger and the broken bodies. Doom turns when he hears them approach. His sensors already mapped their shapes, their heat, their heartbeats, but he prefers to see with his own eyes. He looks at Kratos first. Pale skin, red tattoo, chains on his arms hidden under wraps, axe in hand. He feels the heavy, quiet violence inside the man, like a furnace banked low. Then he looks at Atreus. The boy's shoulders are tense. He holds his bow steady, but Doom sees the tremor in his fingers. The green light inside Doom's wrist crack flares for a moment, as if tasting the boy's strange, rising power. You will stand away from the child, Kratos says, voice low and firm. You are not of this world. Doom inclines his head, not a bow, but a gesture of respect between warriors. Your world tore, he replies, and I stepped through to claim what I need. In doing so, I saved that man and crushed those creatures. We are not yet enemies, Kratos. Atreus blinks. You know my father's name? He asks. I have read of gods who flee one pantheon to slaughter another, Doom says. Your legend reaches far, even to my world. You are Kratos. This must be Atreus. Who are you? Atreus asks, unable to hide his curiosity. Dr. Doom, he answers. Ruler of Latveria, master of sciences and arts no one in your 9 realms has yet named. Kratos steps closer, the axe steady at his side. Why are you here? He says. Dr. Doom of Latveria. Doom looks up at the ring of green fire in the sky. The edges fray, sending little bits of glowing ember down like 6 snowflakes. Because your tree touches all worlds, he says. Your fate threads cross paths with mine. I have come for the roots of that power. In doing so, I may save my people from a doom greater than my name. Atreus' eyes flick between them. If he came here by mistake, Father, we can send him back, the boy says. If he came here on purpose, we should know why, a third voice adds. Kratos' hand tightens. Atreus grins. Hi, Mimir, the boy says. On Kratos' belt, the severed head of Mimir blinks awake. The wise one's eyes roll up toward the sky, then down to Doom. Odin's missing eye, Mimir mutters. That's not a Vanir, not an Aesir, not even a Jotun. And he's wrapped in some sort of cursed metal and light show. Doom looks down at the talking head with cool interest. A living head that remembers the dawn of this world, he says. A useful archive. He taps a command inside his gauntlet. His armor quietly scans Mimir's voice and magic weave. Don't you dare poke at my soul with your witchcraft, laddie, Mimir snaps. I've been stuck on one mad god's belt already. I'd rather not be mounted on another. Enough, Kratos rumbles. The sky is broken. Creatures gather. Odin watches. As if on cue, a second raven darts low over the lake, then darts up again, wing beats frantic. On distant Asgard's walls, Odin's lips curl. He leans over the edge, speaks a word of power, and tosses a small metal charm off the side of his hall. It falls, burning, through the branches of Yggdrasil. In Midgard, the air chills. The lake's surface ripples outward from the center, though nothing touches it. From the far bank, lines of Draga begin to gather more than before. Behind them stomp heavier shapes, armored hellwalkers and strange constructs made of stone and rune light, their eyes all glowing with the same cold yellow as Odin's ravens. Reinforcements, Doom says. Odin tests his new visitor. Kratos looks from the army to Doom. One god brings trouble for another, he says. Ever the same. Atreus swallows. There are people in the wilds, Father, he says. If that army spreads, villages will burn. And the breach will grow, Doom adds, studying how the crack in the sky pulses in time with the movement of the creatures. My world-rend engine sits in the roots of your tree, drawing power. Odin pushes back. If we delay, your 9 realms and my Latveria both will bend toward his will. He will learn there is more beyond. Mimir clicks his tongue. By the Norns, that's all we needed, he says. A new way for the old bastard to snoop on other worlds. Kratos rolls his shoulders, feeling the old chains on his forearms shift under the wraps. We cut off this army here, he says. Then we find this engine of yours and tear it free before Odin does. Atreus looks at Doom. We can work together, the boy says. For now. Dr. Doom studies the boy's hopeful face, then the quiet storm that is Kratos. His own world flashes in his mind. Latveria's snow-capped peaks, the faces of his people, the shadow of threats yet to come. This is acceptable, he says. Until my goal is done, your world's survival and mine are aligned. He raises his hands. Green sigils circle his fingers. Behind him, Kratos hefts the Leviathan axe. Atreus draws 3 arrows at once, breathing slow. The camera pulls back, showing the 3 of them and the dangling head of Mimir standing on the bridge, as Draugr and Hellwalkers surge toward them from both sides. It looks like a war poster, 3 figures backlit by a broken sky, facing a tide of monsters. Boy, Kratos says, left side, keep moving. Atreus, aim true, Doom adds. I will make you a wall. He slams his fist together. A dome of shimmering energy forms around the group, thin and curved, leaving a gap only in the direction they face. Draugr smash against its edges and scrape down, leaving burning trails. Kratos charges through the opening with a roar. The axe gleams blue with frost. He splits the first Hellwalker down the middle, then kicks a Draugr off the bridge. Atreus's arrows arc past his shoulder, each one finding a skull or an exposed joint. Behind them, Doom walks forward in slow, measured steps. He moves as if he owns the bridge, the monsters, and the sky itself. Bolts of tight, controlled lightning flicker from his gauntlets, punching precise holes through rune constructs. He does not waste power. Every shot is exact. One stone construct raises its arms and fires a beam of golden rune energy at him. Doom thrusts his hand out and catches the beam on his shield. Power washes around him, lighting up the crack in his wrist with fierce green glow. He grunts as the force pushes him back half a step, but he holds. Then he redirects it. With a twist, he bends the beam upward and sweeps it across the sky. The light slashes through the green ring's edge. The breach shrieks like metal on metal. For a moment, the monsters all freeze. Far above, Odin feels the feedback through his charm. It burns his palm. He snatches his hand back and snarls. This Doom thinks he can cut my view, he says. We shall see whose will cracks first. Back on the bridge, the last construct falls, its runes dimming. Draugr crumble into dust. The air grows still again, though the ring in the sky still smoulders. Kratos breathes hard, chest heaving. Atreus rubs his fingers, bow still ready, eyes bright. Doom rolls his shoulder, armor plates reseating with soft clanks. Your power is gone different, Atreus says to Doom. Not like runes, not like the gods here. Do not praise him yet, Mimir warns. He brought that tear with him. For all we know, this whole mess is his fault. Doom nods once. Correct, he says without shame. I tore the first hole to reach your tree. I did not expect Odin to be so fast to exploit it. That is my error to fix. But understand this. I opened the way while trying to save my people from worse than your All-Father. Odin seeks only to fatten his own power. Kratos' eyes narrow. You broke the sky, he says, voice low. You risk both our worlds. You speak as gods do, your need above all. Doom steps closer. You speak as one who has killed gods and yet plays at living as a simple man, he says. We both know the lie in that. Power demands use. The question is who suffers when we choose where to point it. Atreus looks between them, heart pounding. He senses the danger in their words, how a wrong one might start a fight more deadly than the army they just faced. Father, he says softly, and Doom. We don't have time for this. The ring is still there. Odin is still watching. We need a plan. Mimir sighs. The boy's right, he says. Listen, we've got a bloody big temple here built by Tyr himself, god of war and peace treaties. Inside it is a Bifrost system that can move us between the realms if we feed it the right power. Maybe we can redirect whatever your engine is doing, close or control the tear. Doom turns toward the temple door, eyes scanning its intricate carvings. He detects old energy paths, locked gears, and something like a skeleton of a machine buried under stone and story. This structure is a focusing array, he says, a gateway hub. With my engine and your Bifrost, we can reach the roots of your tree and place a seal. But we would be walking into the path where Odin's sight is strongest. Kratos nods once. Then we walk, he says, Odin or no. The massive door of Tyr's temple groans open when Kratos pushes. The group steps into the dim hall, runes glowing faintly along the walls. The camera lingers for a moment on the sky outside, on the green ring humming above the lake, then follows them inside as darkness and echoing stone swallow the light. Up to now, Dr. Doom has arrived in Midgard, saved lives, and formed a tense alliance with Kratos and Atreus, while Odin has noticed the breach and begun to move his pieces. Inside the temple, the bridge can rise and turn, aligning with different doors to other realms. Mimir's eyes flick back and forth, following old paths in his memory. Brog and Sindri, the dwarf brothers, stand by the central control platform, each with tools in hand. They both jump when Kratos and Doom walk in side by side. Whoa now, Brog says, wiping grease on his apron. What in the stinking hells is this tin can? Sindri wrinkles his nose and steps back. There's something wrong with his metal, Sindri says, voice tight. I can feel it. Wrong realm, wrong weave, wrong everything. That's going to rust my brain just looking at it. Doom ignores the insult. He walks straight to the platform, armor buzzing softly as he links his systems to the Bifrost roots hidden below. Blue and green lines of light pulse under the stone, waking up like a sleeping giant. Atreus, Kratos says, stay with Mimir. Watch the dwarves. But Atreus starts. Kratos gives him a look. Atreus huffs but nods. He stays by the side of the room, next to Brok's workbench, and watches every move. Mimir's head hangs from his belt, whispering low commentary only the boy can clearly hear. Doom crouches and presses his cracked gauntlet against an old Bifrost socket. Green light from his own device mixes with the temple's blue glow. For a brief moment, lines of power in the floor show a map. The branches of the world tree, the 9 realms hanging like fruits. In my world, we have a thing called a circuit, Doom says. Power flows in fixed paths. Here, power flows in stories and oaths, but both can be redirected. Can you fix the sky? Atreus asks quietly. Fix? Doom repeats. I can change, I can cut, I can move. Whether that is fixing depends on whose eyes watch the result. Mimir snorts. Aye, that's a Doom answer if I ever heard one, he says. Listen, lad. Tyre used this place to walk all realms, sometimes even beyond. If Doom here can link his cursed gadget to the temple, we might reach the root of the problem. But, Atreus presses. But Odin will feel us walking his branches like a spider feels a fly on its web. Mimir finishes. Doom stands. The crack in his wrist glows brighter now, reacting to the temple's energy. He flexes his fingers, and faint green lines briefly trace along his veins under the armor. He feels a pull towards something deep and low under all worlds. We start with Alfheim, Doom says, the light realm. Any tier between dimensions will show itself clearly there. We stabilize the engine's anchor in that realm, then move down. Hell, maybe. Or Jotunheim, if we must. Kratos tilts his head. You speak as if you know our realms, he says. I learn fast, Doom answers. And your head there provides a constant stream of useful complaints. Mimir hums. Fine, he says. Alfheim it is. But mind you, the light and dark elves are at war there. There'll be no safe walk. We are not children, Doom says. We know war. Brok grunts. Yeah, well, don't bring any of that elf nonsense back on my clean floors, he says. He slams a lever. The whole temple shudders. The central bridge begins to turn, groaning as it aligns with the Alfheim door. Atreus watches Doom as the man in armor stands still, cloak draped, eyes glowing faint green behind his mask lenses. He sees no fear, only calculation. He thinks of his father's past, of gods who thought only their plan could save the world. A small knot of worry grows in his chest. The bridge locks into place. A pillar of light rises from the center of the platform, Bifrost energy swirling in whites and blues. Doom steps forward without hesitation. Kratos joins him, axe in hand. Atreus takes his place behind, bow ready. Stay sharp, Kratos says. Always, Doom replies. They step into the Bifrost beam. Light roars around them, swallowing the temple, the dwarves. Mimir's last shout of don't do anything stupid. The world stretches. Colors smear. Atreus feels like he is both falling and standing still. Then, with a sharp crack and a splash of light, they land in Alfheim. Bright sand underfoot. A sky that glows soft pink and white. The light of Alfheim shines in the distance, a great beam stabbing upward. But there is something wrong. Veins of sick green run through that pure light, twisting it like mold on bread. Dark elves swoop in the air, their wings buzzing. Light elves stand on broken platforms, shields up, firing beams of pale light. The air is filled with shouts in languages Doom does not know, but his armor translates enough. War cries, orders, pleas. One dark elf spots them. He screeches and dives, weapon raised. Kratz hurls the Leviathan axe. It cuts the elf from the air. The body hits the sand near Doom. Doom's sensors drink in everything. Light spectra, rune signatures, energy flows. He sees how the green corruption in the light pulses in time with the crack in his wrist. His world-rend engine, buried in Yggdrasil's roots, is leaking into this realm. "We are in the path of my error," Doom says. "Good. It will be easier to correct." Light elves glance over. One of them, armor bright and wings torn, stumbles toward them. "Strangers," he calls. "If you are enemies of the dark, help us push them back from the temple. The light is sick. It is turning." Kratos looks to Doom. "Your mistake tears this realm," he says. "We clean it." "Atreus," Doom says, voice cold but not unkind. "Do you see them? The ones not fighting?" Atreus scans the field. He sees injured elves dragged into cover, crying children huddled behind broken pillars, their eyes huge. His chest tightens. "Hit the ones with weapons," Doom says. "Guide your shots away from the weak. We end this fast, with as little extra death as possible." Atreus nods. "Got it," he says. They move. This battle is different from the bridge fight. Here Doom does not simply blast in straight lines. He bends beams. He creates small, controlled gravity wells that pull only armed dark elves out of cover and into Kratos' reach. When a light elf line begins to buckle, he projects a wide shield across them, catching arrows and beams both. Kratos uses that shield like a wall, sliding along its edge. He slams into enemies that try to flank it, his axe flashing. Atreus fires rapidly, each arrow guided by both his father's training and Doom's precise calls. "One above you, boy," Doom says. Atreus twists and shoots without thinking. An elf falls. The cost shows in Doom's step. Every time he casts a large field, the crack in his wrist spreads up a little farther. The green glow reaches his forearm. He feels something foreign crawl along his nerves, like roots sliding under skin. He clenches his jaw and keeps working. Soon, the tide turns. Dark elves break lines and flee back toward their own deeper territories. Light elves cheer, weak but grateful. A light elf captain approaches. He has one wing wrapped tight, a bandage stained with light. "You fight with power strange to this realm," he says. "But you turned the battle. We owe you." "I seek the heart of your light," Doom says. "It is sick because of me. I will mend what I broke." Atreus looks at him sharply. He hears the word mend and thinks of Doom's earlier change and cut. He wonders which one this man truly means. The captain nods, half in trust, half in exhaustion. "We will open the way to the temple," he says. "But the sickness is wrong. No rune, no curse we know. It eats at our sight, our stories. Be wary." As they walk toward the light temple, Mimir, still hanging from Kratos' belt, mutters. "This is where it starts," he says. "First you help, first you save. Then folk think it's fine you walk their sacred places with your cursed machines. Then, one day, they look up and realize all the doors only open where you say." Doom hears every word. He does not answer. In his mind, he sees Latveria again. He hears his people chanting his name. He sees futures where they die because he did nothing, because he feared to take what he needed. At the temple, the green veins in the light run thick. They pulse like veins under skin, reaching toward the beam's base. Doom steps forward, raises his cracked gauntlet, and matches his energy to the rhythm. "Stand back," he says. "This will not be gentle." Kratos narrows his eyes. "How much will it hurt this world?" he asks. "Less than leaving the rot," Doom answers. He does not lie. He does not explain more. He flings both hands forward. Green and blue energy streams from his palms into the light beam. The beam shakes, widens, then narrows. Pain arcs up his arms. His armor screams warnings. The crack races to his elbow, Doom grits his teeth. He feels the engine's anchor in this realm. It is a knot of his own design, fused with roots of light. He forces it to unwind strand by strand. Atreus watches, biting his lip. He sees Doom tremble, just a little. He hears Kratos' knuckles crack as the Spartan god of war fights the urge to interfere with something he does not fully understand. With a final wrench of will, Doom rips the engine's Alfheim anchor free. The green veins snap away from the light and whip back toward the unseen roots. The beam flares pure and bright again. The elf captain falls to his knees, tears in his eyes. The light, it sings clear again, he whispers. Whatever you did, stranger, it saved us. You are welcome in our realm. Doom's knees almost buckle. He stands only because his pride refuses to bend. The green glow under his armor now coils around his upper arm. At a cost, Mimir mutters. A terrible cost. To him, aye, but also to the tree. You don't pull on the roots like that without someone somewhere feeling the strain. They return to Tyr's temple by Bifrost. The beam drops them back on the central platform. Brock and Sindri jump again as Doom staggers out, his movements less smooth, more labored. Whoa, Brock says. You look like a half-melted lantern metal man. Sindri peeks, then hides his face. The corruption spread, he says softly. If that reaches his heart, I don't want to think about it. They gather in the main hall. Doom stands by the control platform, arms folded. Kratos leans against a pillar, axe resting. Atreus sits on the steps, bow laid across his knees. Freya appears in a swirl of leaves and magic, stepping from a doorway with quiet grace. I felt a twist in the tree, Freya says. The light trembled, then righted itself, and something foreign dug deeper into the roots. Explain. She is the sacred authority here. A Vanir goddess, once queen of the Valkyries, now a witch who knows more than she says. Her eyes on Doom are sharp as knives. Atreus stands quickly. This is Dr. Doom, he says. He came through the tear. He helped us fight on the bridge. Then we went to Alfheim and he fixed, he changed the light. The sickness is gone. You tore the sky, Freya says to Doom. You latched the thing of another world onto our tree. Now you dig it out by ripping at the roots. You call that help? I call it repair, Doom replies. My engine must draw from something. I set it in your tree because your tree touches many worlds. Odin bent that choice toward his own greed. I now correct that error. Kratos crosses his arms. You speak like a craftsman, he says, but your work cracks more than wood. Freya steps closer to Doom, magic circling her fingers. One day, men like you make oaths, she says. They say, we will help, we will protect. And in time, the oaths rot, and all that is left is the power and the need to keep it. Doom's voice hardens. In my world, I have seen what happens when power lies only in the hands of fools and cowards, he says. I took it from them. My people live because I was willing to do what others called evil. You call this tree sacred. I call it a tool that can save more lives than you can count, if placed in the right hands. At what price? Freya shoots back. You already see it, don't you? The corruption crawling up your arm. That is not just your engine burning you. That is our world pushing back. Every time you force your will through these roots, you twist fate's threads. You may save your Latveria, but you will strangle something here. Atreus looks down at Doom's arm. Is that true? He asks. There's always a price, Doom says. His voice is calm, not apologetic. The question is who pays it and who gains from it. Kratos pushes off from the pillar. In Greece, he says slowly, gods took what they wished. They said it was for balance and for order. but mortals bled. Children starved. The gods did not care. I killed them for it. He steps closer, eyes locked on Doom's mask. I will not watch another god remake this world for his own need, Kratos says. If you try, I will kill you too. For a moment, the hall is very quiet. Even Brock and Sindri stop fidgeting. Atreus' heart hammers. Freya's magic hums low, ready either to shield or to strike. Doom does not step back. He stares straight into Kratos' eyes through his mask. You think I fear your threat? He asks. I fear only failure. My ethic is simple. Doom alone bears the burden so that others may live. I will do what must be done. If you attempt to stop me from saving my people, then yes, we will come to blows. But if we work together, we can both win. That is not mercy, Freya says. That is control dressed as sacrifice. Atreus raises his hands. Wait, he says. We're all angry, but we're missing something. If Doom's engine stays, Odin gets a path to other worlds. That's bad for everyone. If Doom rips it out alone, he might tear the tree and break fate for all. That's also bad. So we need a way where we guide what he does. Rules, limits. Together. Mimir chuckles weakly. Boy's got a head on his shoulders, he says. Better than most gods in this room. Freya exhales slowly. You want doctrine, she says. Rules to bind power. Mercy versus survival. Freedom versus order. Very well. Speak. We set conditions, Atreus says, thinking fast. Doom can use his engine only when others agree it's needed. No secrets, no sneaking. We watch the corruption. If it gets too bad, we stop. And he has to help fix Odin's tricks, not just his own. Doom's fingers twitch. He is not used to being told what he can and cannot do. But the world-rend engine truly is linked to the tree now. If he moves against all of them, he risks being cut off before he can save Latveria. You would put a leash on Doom, he says. There is no chain that can hold me. Kratos' voice is flat. Then leave and fight Odin alone, he says. See how far you get. Stranger in strange armor. Freya tilts her head. Or stay, she says. Accept that power without counsel turns to ruin. In this realm, even the All-Father fears prophecy and law. You are not above them. For a long moment, Doom is silent. Inside his armor, systems hum, run calculations. He sees one path where he refuses and fights everyone here, burning half of Midgard and still losing the tree. He sees another where he submits fully, lets them chain his engine until it is no more use than a weak lantern. Between them, he sees a narrow line, a partnership built on tension, where he shares just enough to keep moving. Very well, he says at last. You will not put Doom on a leash, but we will bargain. I will share what I can of the engine's nature. You will aid me in controlling it. In return, I will help defend your realms from Odin and this breach. Our goals align, if only for a time. That is not as much as I would like, Freya says, but it is more than I expected. Kratos grunts. You break your word, he says, and I break your neck. Doom nods once. A fair exchange, he replies. Before anyone can say more, the temple shakes. Light flickers. Brack stumbles and grabs a railing. Sindri screams and clutches his tools to his chest. What now? Mimir groans. Outside, the green ring in the sky twists. Its edges sharpen, and a dark center forms, like an eye opening. From that center, invisible waves pulse out, slicing through stone, wood, and flesh. Nothing breaks physically, but everyone feels something tear inside, just a little. Doom staggers, clutching his arm. The corruption jumps up to his shoulder. Atreus gasps, hand to his chest, feeling a strange tug at his own fate. Freya's magic flares wild and then snaps back, On a far tower, Odin lowers a strange device of his own, a ring of metal and rune that hummed in time with the breach. He smiles, thin and cruel. "So this Doom's toy is tied to our tree," he says. "And to him. I can hurt the man and the roots all at once. Interesting." Back in the temple, a shimmer appears in the air. Runes float in mid-space, burning cold blue. Symbols Freya recognizes as ancient null wards. Spells meant to unmake magic itself. They twist together, forming a shape. A tall, armored figure steps out of nothing, made of black stone, wrapped in runes that eat light. Its face is blank. Its hands are empty, but power hums around them. "What in hell is that?" Brock yelps. Mimir's voice goes flat with fear. "A null warden," he says. "Odin hasn't used one in ages, designed to strip power from anything that doesn't fit his idea of proper magic. They can drink spell and rune both. And looks like this one's been tuned to our new friend." The null warden's head turns toward Doom. The runes on its chest flare the exact same green as the crack in Doom's arm. Doom feels his armor dim. Systems flicker. For the first time since entering this realm, he feels weak. Freya throws a curse at the warden. The spell hits its chest and vanishes like smoke in wind. "Careful," she shouts. "It eats magic. Don't feed it," Kratos charges. He swings the Leviathan axe at the warden's neck. The blade bites deep, frost flaring, then fizzles. The stone holds. Runes along the cut glow, then knit the wound shut. The warden raises a hand. A wave of cold, empty force slams into Kratos. It is not ice, not fire, not any element he knows. It is the absence of power. Chains on his arms go still. He flies backward, smashing into a pillar. Atreus fires arrows. Each one touches the warden's aura and simply falls, dead and dull. Mimir curses in 3 old languages. The null warden steps toward Doom. With every step, Doom's armor dims more. He tries to form a shield and gets only a thin, trembling layer of light. He tries to fire a beam and instead spits out a weak spark that fizzles before it hits the enemy. "This one is made to unmake me," Doom thinks. Good. At least Odin respects his foe enough to craft a proper weapon. Aloud he says, "Kratos, Freya, fall back. This is aimed at me." "Exactly why we won't leave you," Atreus shouts. He runs to Doom's side, bow useless, but heart blazing. Power Scaling Interlude I. In quiet words, Mimir explains that the Null Warden is built from World Tree sap stone and carved with runes that cancel any pattern they sense as foreign. Doom's hybrid tech and sorcery scream wrong to it, so it drains his armor while also damping local magic, and the more he pushes, the stronger its cancellation gets, like a mirror that throws back any light aimed at it. Doom's ethic, his pride, will not let him simply shut down. He steps forward to meet the Warden. Even weakened, he is not helpless. His mind still works. His will still cuts like a blade. He studies the pattern of runes as the Warden raises both hands. He sees how they flare when they sense magic, how they dim when close to simple physical motion. He learns in 3 heartbeats. The Warden thrusts its palms forward. A cone of null force roars out, visible only as a warping of air. Doom does not try to block it. Instead, he sidesteps with pure muscle and armor weight, no power at all. The cone slams into the wall behind him, erasing the glow of the temple's runes there. "Boy," Doom calls, "arrows only where there are no symbols. Aim for bare stone joints." Atreus blinks, then nods. He scans the Warden, spots tiny gaps between rune plates, and fires. An arrow slips into one and sticks. The Warden staggers just a bit. Kratos pushes himself up, shaking off the echo of empty force. He charges again, but this time he does not lead with the axe's magic. He grabs the warden's arm and twists, using pure strength, old Spartan training. Stone grinds, a wrist joint cracks. Freya changes tack. Instead of a bright curse, she whispers a small, subtle spell that masks Atreus' aim, making his arrows feel like tiny, harmless things until they strike. The warden's runes do not flare at them until it is too late. Even so, every small win costs them. The warden's presence keeps Doom's armor at a fraction of its power. The crack on his arm creeps higher. He feels the tree itself pulsing in the back of his skull, angry. At last, Doom sees his opening. It is small. It is risky. He takes it. "Kratos," he shouts, "throw me." Kratos' eyes flash. He remembers another time, another world, when he fought alongside Titans and used his own body as a weapon. For a second, he almost snarls, "No." Then he sees Atreus' face, Freya's strain, and the warden stepping toward all of them. He grabs Doom by the back of his armor and the belt of his cloak. He spins once, twice, then hurls Doom straight at the warden's chest. For that brief flight, Doom shuts down all active systems. He becomes pure metal, mass and will. The warden's runes, sensing no magic, stay dim. Doom slams into the warden. Stone cracks. He wraps his arms around the warden's body and clamps down, pinning its arms. Up close, he sees the core rune, a circle of symbols on its back, the heart of the null field. He whispers a word, not a loud spell, not a bright blast. A tiny code, half math, half curse, sent only into that circle. The rune flares, confused by a pattern too small to cancel. For a heartbeat, the null field flickers. "Now," Doom roars. Freya sends a focused, sharp curse straight into the core rune. Kratos leaps, bringing the Leviathan axe down in a full-force chop. That is more raw muscle than magic. Atreus fires 3 arrows into the same spot. The core rune shatters. Light explodes outward. The warden's body freezes, then crumbles into dust and stone, dropping Doom to his knees. He gasps, power rushing back into his armor like air into lungs. The cracked glow dims just a little, but does not retreat. Freya staggers, sweating. Kratos plants the axe and breathes hard. Atreus runs to Doom's side. "Are you okay?" the boy asks. Doom pushes himself up. "I am Doom," he says, voice hoarse. "I do not break so easily." Mimir lets out a long breath. "Well," he says, "we just saw Odin send a weapon that can strip our new allies' fancy tricks and nibble at the world's magic for good measure. That's not a thing we can ignore. Up to now, they have won 2 big fights and formed a tense alliance, but a smarter foe, Odin's Null Warden, has shown that it can hurt Doom at his core and threaten the tree itself. The temple feels smaller after the Null Warden falls. The air is heavy. Everyone's eyes keep sliding back to the pile of ruined stone, as if they expect it to move again. Freya kneels near the dust, hand held over it. Her magic glows faint green, then sputters out. She frowns. "It's not just carved rock," she says. "The core was soaked in sap from the World Tree. Odin fed our own roots into this thing and twisted them, taught them to hate what does not belong." Mimir sighs. "Aye," he says. "And if he made one, he can make more. Bunches of the ugly bastards sent all over the realms. Anywhere our friend here pokes his nose, Odin will send a warden to snap it off." Brock snorts. "Great," he grumbles. "Tree sap golems that eat magic and break my flaws. Just what I always wanted." Doom stands near the control platform, cloak still and straight. Inside his armor, pain hums along his arm. He can feel the corruption there like hot wire. He points at the dust and broken runes. Odin has seen my work, he says. He understands that my engine gives anyone who controls it a hand on your tree. He will not simply try to break it now, he will try to take it, to tune Yggdrasil to his own pattern. Atreus, Freya says, turning to the boy, do you see why that is worse than anything he has done yet? Atreus swallows. He thinks of the map of the realms. He imagines Odin's hand on every door, every path. If he controls the tree, Atreus says slowly, he controls how every story goes. Who can move, who can fight, who can run. He could lock whole worlds in cages. Smart lad, Mimir says. Odin's a greedy old spider. He doesn't just want power. He wants to decide who gets to even reach for it. Kratos looks at Doom's arm. Your engine is the handle, he says. You set it there. Now Odin pulls. Doom does not flinch. Yes, he says, and I will move the handle before he can grab it. Freya straightens. You tried to pull it free in Alfheim, she says. That shook the tree from crown to root. You can't just keep ripping. The next time, something may snap. A branch, a realm, a life that should not be cut short. What do you suggest? Doom asks. Do nothing. Let Odin take my work. Let my world die while you protect your own stories. No one said that, Atreus puts in quickly. We need a plan, not just yelling. Mimir sighs. Right, he says. Tactical time. Our foe is Odin. His goal is to claim your engine, Doom, and use it to make Yggdrasil his own plaything. Standard tricks don't work because he's not just flinging lightning and ravens. He's rewriting rules. He sends null wardens to cancel any power that doesn't fit his book, and he squeezes the tree so hard that every spell we cast rings like a bell in his ears. Freya nods. If we charge at him, realm by realm, he will always be ready, she says. He will send more wardens, more curse engines. In the end, our magic will run out, and your body will break. Kraus lifts the axe. We do not run from him, he says, but we cannot only swing. We must cut where he is weak. Doom's eyes narrow behind his mask. There are 3 anchors for the engine, he says. One we have already stripped from Alfheim. The second lies in the cold realm of Helheim, death. The third is buried near the Well of Fate, deep in the roots. If we secure the cold anchor and then face the fates, we can change how the engine binds to your tree. Freya looks sharply at him. How do you know where the anchors are? She asks. Doom's voice is quiet. Because I placed them, he says, and because even now, I feel them pulling on my veins. Atreus frowns. So Helheim next, he says. The dead realm. That's not great. No, Mimir agrees. But it's where Odin least expects anyone to meddle. He thinks fear will keep us away from the land of the dead. We use that. Freya folds her arms. Helheim's winds strip hope, she warns Doom. They gnaw at your will. Even gods lose themselves there. Your pride will be a feast to that place. Doom's posture does not change. Then it will choke, he says. Prepare the Bifrost. We go now. Up to now, they have learned that Odin is trying to twist Doom's engine and the world tree together, sent a null warden that nearly broke Doom, and set their sights on Helheim to secure the second anchor before Odin can seize it. The Bifrost beam spits them out into cold that hurts to breathe. Helheim stretches around them in grey and green, jagged ice, black cliffs, a dead wind that tastes like metal and old regret. Atreus pulls his cloak tight. His breath fogs the air. He looks down and sees shapes moving under the ice. Pale shadows of people, eyes wide, mouths open in silent words. Don't stare too long, boy, Mimir warns from Kratos' belt. Helheim shows you things you don't want to see. Twice as bad for those with regrets. And we've got a fair few in this group. Kratos grunts, jaw tight. He can almost hear chains rattling in the wind. He pushes the sound away. Doom steps forward. Helheim's chill claws at his armor, trying to slip into joints and seams. Sensors flash warnings about strange energies. Not heat, not cold, but some third thing that eats both. His corrupted arm throbs in time with the wind. Green light pulses faintly along the ice in the distance. A shard of foreign metal juts from a cracked glacier, wrapped in dead roots. That is the Helheim anchor, his own work, infected now with the realm's sorrow. There, Doom says, the second anchor. Odin will not have had time to fully study it yet. We move fast. And if the All-Father is not a fool, he'll have laid a trap right on top of it, Mimir says. I'd put coin on that. They march across a narrow bridge of black stone. Hellwalkers shamble nearby, drawn by the living. Kraus moves ahead, chopping them down with the Leviathan axe. Their bodies fall into the fog, swallowed by the endless drop. Atreus's arrows fly true, pinning Hellwalkers to icy walls where they hang and fade. Doom uses minimal power, short bursts of force to shove enemies off ledges or pin them in place for Kratos. He feels Helheim sucking at every spell, taking a little of his will each time. They reach the glacier. The shard hums with power, green and sick. Hell's winds twist around it, carrying whispers in many tongues. Doom steps closer. His corrupted arm glows bright, as if it recognizes a piece of itself. His armor's inner voice warns, overload risk, system strain rising. Freya appears from behind a rocky outcrop. She has come by her own paths, magic claws dug into Helheim's rules. She looks at the shard and shudders. You did this, she says. You brought another world's heart metal into the land of the dead. I needed a place where no living god would look, Doom says. I did not account for one who sends his eye everywhere. As if summoned by his name, Odin's voice rolls across the ice, not as a shout, but as a calm tone that slides into every ear. Well now, the All-Father says, a visitor from beyond and my least favorite god-killer, walking together in my graveyard. What a sight. A beam of rainbow-edged light slams down onto the glacier. The ice cracks, lightning erupts. A large, broad shape steps out of the beam, hammer in hand. Thor. Not the Marvel Thor Doom knows from his own world, but this realm's version. Beard wild, belly thick with meat and mead, eyes bright with cruel joy. Mjolnir in his hand thrums with storm power. Runes crawl along its metal, some old, some newly carved and glowing faint green. He grins when he sees Kratos. Brother, he says, voice like thunder wrapped in smoke. Been wanting to settle our little score. Kratos' grip on the axe tightens. Thor, he growls. Thor's eyes slide to Doom. And you must be the metal priest Odin's ravens keep squawking about, he says. He lifts Mjolnir, admiring its new runes. All this clever carving just to crack your little toy and the man who made it. I do love when Father forges me an excuse to hit someone. Atreus looks at the hammer. Those runes, he whispers. They feel like the Null Warden. Mimir nods grimly. Aye, he says. Odin's bound Null runes into that hammer. Thor is named Antagonist A if I ever saw one. He can hurt Doom's armor with every swing and crack the engine's bonds at the same time. Thor slams Mjolnir into the ice. Shockwaves rip through the glacier. Doom stumbles. The Helheim anchor trembles, its green light flaring. I will handle Thor, Doom says. You keep the dead off us and watch the anchor. If it shatters without control, the backlash will tear this realm in half. Are you mad? Freya snaps. You cannot face him alone. He eats worlds for breakfast. Doom turns his head just enough that they can see his eyes behind the mask. I have fought his kind before, he says. Gods with hammers, gods with thunder. Doom is their equal in any world. Kratos steps forward. This is my fight too, he says. Thor laughs. Oh, that's rich, he says. The ghost of Sparta and some tin idiot arguing over who gets to die first. Fine, come together. I'll send you both to hell proper. He hurls Mjolnir. The hammer arcs, lightning trailing behind. It aims straight for Doom. Doom raises his shield. The hammer hits and the null runes flare. His shield shatters. Armor plates along his arm crack. He feels a flare of agony. The corruption jumps from his shoulder to his chest. Mjolnir whips back to Thor's hand. Thor smirks. Feels different when the hammer eats your tricks, doesn't it? He taunts. You're used to being the cleverest man in the room. Here, you're just a target. Kratos charges. He slams into Thor with the full force of his body. The two gods of war crash together, fists and weapons colliding. Their clash is a Marvel-style moment. Lightning and frost exploding in circles, each hit making the glacier lurch. Doom stands between them and the anchor, cape whipping, eyes tracking both. Thor shoves Kratos back and rushes Doom. This time, Doom does not try a full shield. He redirects. Instead of blocking head-on, he throws a slanted wall of force, weak but angled. Mjolnir hits it and skids, its path bending just enough that it whips past Doom's head instead of smashing his chest. Even that glancing blow makes his armor ring like a bell. Doom counterattacks with a narrow gravity beam aimed not at Thor's body, but at his feet, trying to pin him. Mjolnir's runes flare again. The beam fizzles, nullified. You see, Thor laughs. Your tricks are fun, but Father makes better ones. He swings Mjolnir in a wide arc. The blow catches Doom across the ribs. Armor dense, systems short. Inside the suit, Victor feels bones crack. He falls to one knee. Breath rasps in his throat. Green light surges across his chest like lightning under skin. Kratos hurls the Leviathan axe at Thor's back. The Hammerman staggers, snarling. Atreus and Freya work together at the edge of the glacier, holding back waves of hellwalkers drawn to the noise. Arrows and spells fly. The air stinks of burnt frost and old death. Doom pushes himself up. Helmet displays flicker. He forces them clear. He has been beaten before. By Reed Richards, by the Beyonder, by himself. Each defeat taught him something. Now, he learns Thor. Mjolnir's null runes only flare when the hammer is in motion, when it is feeding on power or giving it. When it hangs at Thor's side, they dim. Thor lunges again, hammer raised. Stay down, little metal man, he calls. Leave this to gods. I am no one's little anything, Doom growls. He pretends to stumble. He lets Thor close the distance. At the last instant, he steps inside the arc of the swing, where Mjolnir's path cannot bend. He grabs Thor's wrist with his good hand. His corrupted arm he slams against Mjolnir's head. For a moment, null runes and engine corruption touch. Green and grey light explode where they meet. Helheim itself shudders. Boy, Kratos shouts. Atreus dives behind a broken block of ice as a wave of warped energy washes over the glacier. In that clash, Doom sees something ugly and sharp. Odin's logic inside the null runes. The runes do not truly hate wrong magic. They are tuned to hate any power not marked with Odin's shape. Doom laughs, even as pain scorches up his corrupted arm and across his chest. You carved your ego into the code, he says. Of course you did, All-Father. You cannot imagine power that does not kneel. He uses that. He twists his engine's signal just a little to echo that same shape. For a heartbeat, the null runes think his power is Odin's. They stop resisting. Doom channels a short, brutal surge up through Mjolnir's head into Thor's arm. not a spell, a spike of pure raw force. Thor's eyes bulge. He roars. His arm spasms. Mjolnir flies from his grip, spinning off and slamming into a distant ice wall. Doom is thrown backward by the recoil. He hits the ice hard, armor cracking more. Blood fills his mouth inside the mask. Thor looks at his empty hand in shock, then at Doom. Rage fills his face. "You dare," he snarls. "You dare touch my hammer." Kratos charges again. This time, he is not aiming to knock Thor back. He aims to hurt. He slams his fist into Thor's jaw, then another into his gut. Thor staggers. Kratos tackles him, both of them rolling across the ice in a tangle of fists and snarls. The glacier cracks. The Helheim anchor trembles on the edge. Doom drags himself up on one knee. Every breath hurts. His corrupted chest glows bright, lines spidering toward his heart. He looks at the anchor. He knows he cannot do another precise unwinding like in Alfheim. Not now. He is too damaged. The null runes in Mjolnir have stirred the corruption into a storm inside him. He has two choices. Leave the anchor, let Odin take it later, or rip it free fast and accept the backlash. Latveria's faces flash in his mind again. Children playing in snowy streets, old women praying in ruined churches. His people who trust that Doom will protect them. He makes his choice. He reaches out with both hands. He grabs the anchor with his will and yanks. The shard tears from the glacier. Helheim screams. The wind rises into a howl. Ghosts shriek. The ice under them buckles. The backlash slams into Doom. It hits his corruption and rides along it, straight into his chest. He screams, not a proud roar, a raw human cry torn from his throat. The green lines spread over his heart. For a moment, he feels the tree itself inside him, 1,000 threads of fate. He sees possible futures. Him as a god of roots, him as a burnt husk. Latveria saved, Latveria crushed. Then the vision snaps. He falls. Codex note: the Helheim anchor wound fuses Doom's engine to his heart, turning each use into a risk of total corruption and binding his fate to Yggdrasil's threads. Mjolnir slams back into Thor's hand, called by old bonds. He shoves Kratos off and leaps back, gasping. Odin's voice fills the air again. "That's enough, boy," he says to Thor. "Helheim is unstable. Bring yourself back. This is only the first round." Thor snarls at Kratos, then at Doom's fallen form. "This isn't done," he growls. He taps Mjolnir and vanishes in a blast of Bifrost, pulled back to Asgard. The glacier starts to crumble. Cracks race toward Kratos, Freya, and Atreus. "Grab him," Atreus cries, pointing at Doom. Kratos doesn't hesitate. He slings Doom's limp body over his shoulder, armor and all. The extra weight barely slows him. Freya throws a spell, trying to hold the ice steady. It buys them 3 heartbeats. They sprint. At the last second, Kratos jumps. Freya snaps open a path of magic. They fall through green light instead of into the endless pit. They land hard on Tyr's temple floor. Brok and Sindri scream and dive out of the way. By the stones of Svartalfheim, Brok yells, "Maybe warn a dwarf before you drop a whole Helheim brawl in his lap." Doom lies on the ground, chest armor glowing sickly. His breathing is shallow. Green light pulses with each beat. Freya kneels beside him. Her hands hover over his chest, not touching. She can feel the tree's threads running through him now. She knows what that means. "He is bound," she says softly, "to the roots, to the engine, to our fates." Atreus kneels by Doom's head. "Can we save him?" he asks. "Can we fix this?" Freya's face is grim. "I can keep him alive," she says, "for now. But the corruption is not just sickness. It is choice made solid. He pulled too hard on the roots. They pulled back. From now on, every time he uses that engine, he risks losing himself and ripping more of the tree. Kratos watches Doom's fingers twitch. He remembers how it felt to be bound to God's chains, to have his own choices twisted. He does not pity easily, but he knows what it is to be a weapon and a man at the same time. He chose this, Kratos says, to save his people. At what cost? Freya counters. Helheim trembled. Souls that should have slept were stirred. Odin now knows he can hurt Doom by hurting the tree, and hurt the tree by hurting Doom. The All-Father never misses a weakness. Doom's eyes flutter open. He sees Freya above him, Kratos and Atreus nearby, Mimir watching with sad eyes. His voice is rough. "Did we secure the anchor?" he asks. "At a terrible price," Freya says. "You nearly died. You dragged the roots through your heart." And Helheim itself screamed. "But Odin did not get it," Doom says. "Then the price is acceptable." Freya stares at him. Anger and admiration tangled. "You sound like Odin," she says. "He says the same words when he sacrifices others." "I sacrifice myself," Doom replies. He tries to sit up. Kratos pushes him back down. "Rest," Kratos says. "You are no use dead." Doom lies still. His mask hides his face, but his voice is clear. "I know what you fear," he says to Freya. "You think I will become like your All-Father, that I will take this new bond and use it to control your tree, your fates, your people. That is not my intent. I do not want your realms. I want only my own." "Intent is how gods start," Freya says quietly. "I only want this. I will only do that. It always grows." Mimir clears his throat. "Argue later," he says. "We've got 2 anchors handled, but the third is sunk near the well of fate. And with that Helheim shock, the Norns will have felt every twitch. They're not going to sit idle while some metal-clad foreigner tugs at their work." Atreus nods. "We need to talk to them," he says. "The Fates, they're the supreme authority on how the tree works. If we don't get their approval, or at least their rules, Doom will keep ripping until something breaks." Freya's shoulders sag, then square. "You're right," she says. "I hate going to them. They are cruel, in their way. But they understand the blood price of each change. They can tell us what Doom can and cannot safely do from now on." Kratos looks at Doom. "Can you stand?" he asks. Doom pushes himself up slowly. Pain flares in his chest, but he refuses to show it. "I can walk," he says. "I will not crawl before any fate." "Good," Kratos says, "because we go to the well of Urd. We will stand before the Norns, and they will judge." Up to now, Doom has fought Thor in Helheim, torn free the second anchor at the cost of binding the engine to his heart and shaking Helheim itself, and the group has decided to seek the Norns at the well of fate for guidance and limits before everything tears apart. The boat cuts through the Lake of Nine, water dark and deep under a sky still scarred by the green ring. Kratos rows, steady and strong. Doom sits stiffly in the bow, cloak wrapped around dented armor. Atreus sits in the middle, bow across his knees. Freya stands at the stern, guiding the boat with small spells that keep it from tipping where the world serpent's tail shifts below. Mimir hangs at Kratos' belt, as always, eyes watching the horizon. This is their voyage, a slow path toward the mountain that holds the well of Urd. The air smells of pine and cold stones. Snowflakes melt on Doom's armor. For once, no enemies attack. The realms hold their breath. Atreus looks at Doom's chest. He can see a faint green glow through cracked plates. "Does it hurt?" the boy asks. "Yes," Doom says. He does not say how much. He does not say that each breath feels like roots scraping inside his lungs. Then why keep using it? Atreus presses. You could stop. We could find another way. Doom's voice is calm. If I stop, my people die, he says. There is always another way, people say. Often they say that when they do not know the cost of inaction. I know it. I have seen worlds burn because their leaders hesitated. Kratos rose in silence for a moment, then speaks. In Greece, the gods said there was no other way but their way, he says. They claimed they held the world together. Without them, all would fall. They lied. They wanted control. You think I lie? Doom asks. I think you may be wrong, Kratos replies. Not in your goal, in your belief that you alone must pay the price for all. Freya folds her arms. There is also dogma, she says. The Norns write fate. They say all is fixed. They use that to keep gods and mortals in their places. This must happen. That must not. If we follow them blindly, people suffer too. So we are caught between your pride and their rules. Atreus listens, head spinning a little. So, what's right? He asks. Save people at any cost, like Doom, or follow fate and rules like the Norns? No single answer, Freya says softly. That is why this is hard. Mimir chuckles sadly. Welcome to grown-up thinking, lad, he says. Mercy versus survival. Freedom versus order. The trick is to stop your good reasons from turning into excuses to do whatever you want. Doom looks out over the lake. Latveria feels very far away, but the weight of it sits heavy on his chest still. My motto is simple, he says at last. Doom alone bears the burden. I take choices others cannot, so they may live soft lives. Call it pride if you wish. Someone must be willing to be the villain in some tales if it means saving lives in others. At what point do you stop? Kratos asks. What line will you not cross? Doom is silent for a moment. Then he answers. I will not trade my people for another's, he says. I will not let another god rule my world. And I will not, if I can help it, tear apart the foundation of reality itself. That is why I go to your fates. Not because I bow to them, because even Doom must know the limits of the game board. Freya's eyes soften just a little. At least you know you need limits, she says. Many gods never admit that. The boat reaches the shore at the base of the mountain. They climb a long path, up through snow and twisted roots. Hell winds fade. Here, the air is thin and clear. On a narrow ledge, they pause. Freya weaves a spell that opens a hidden path, a glowing line of runes that leads deeper around the mountain instead of up. The Well of Erd is not reached by simple walking, she says. You must follow paths of memory and story. This way. They walk along the glowing path. The world around them blurs just a little, as if they are walking through a half-remembered dream. Trees fade in and out. Old sounds echo. Voices from Kratos' past. Atreus' laughter. Freya's tears. Doom's own childhood in Latveria. Doom stiffens when he hears his mother's voice, long dead. For a moment, he sees her face in a tree trunk. Then it's gone. The engine in his chest responds, threads tugging. This path is dangerous for him, Freya warns. The Norns may already be tugging. Before anyone can answer, the air ahead twists. Branches of Yggdrasil appear from nothing, weaving into a tunnel of roots glowing faint gold. Bifrost light flickers around them, as if someone is trying to hijack their path. Something's coming, Atreus says. The roots split open. A figure steps out. It looks like Doom. Same armor shape, same cloak cut. But his metal is grown, not forged. Made of wood turned to iron, of bark and bone. Roots snake along its limbs, wrapped around glowing green plates. Its mask is carved with Norn runes. His voice is Doom's voice, but twisted by echo. "I am Victor Van Doom, world-bound," it says. "I am what you become when you let the tree write your every choice." Mirapho B. Kratos steps in front of Atreus without thinking. Freya's magic flares. Mimir curses under his breath. Doom stares at his own face. "What are you?" he asks. "A trick of the fates." "I am a Doom from another branch," the Mirapho says. "In my world, I bound the engine to my heart as you did. I went to my Norns. I accepted their offer. I let them weave my will into every thread. I saved Latveria. I saved 100 worlds. None of them kept their own choices." Atreus' stomach twists. "So they were safe," he says slowly, "but only because you decided everything for them?" "Because fate and I decided," Worldbound Doom corrects. "No war we did not approve. No child died without our consent. No joy, no sorrow, without purpose. Clean, efficient, kind, in its way." Kratos' lip curls. "That is not kindness," he says. "That is a cage." Mirror Doom looks at Kratos with something like pity. "Spoken like one who has never had to rule," he says. Then he turns to Victor. "You carry the same flaw I did," he says. "Pride that you alone can carry the burden. You fear failure more than you fear tyranny. Let me help you. Give me the engine. Let me merge your branch into mine. Your Latveria will be safe. These realms will be guided. No more risk. No more pain." The offer hangs in the air like a weight. Atreus looks at Doom, heart pounding. Freya tenses, ready to strike if Doom agrees. Kratos' hand tightens on the axe. Inside his chest, the engine pulses. Threads stir. The Norns watch through them. Victor Von Doom feels the pull. Worldbound's words cut at his weakest place. He has failed before. He hates that feeling. A path that promises no more failure is tempting. He imagines Latveria safe forever. No threats, no fear. He imagines his people never knowing hunger, war, or loss. All they have to give up is their freedom to choose. He thinks of Atreus' question on the boat. When do you stop? He thinks of Kratos' warning. Another god remaking the world for his own need. He thinks of his own words. I will not let another god rule my world. Now he must decide if he counts himself as a god too. Give it to me, Mirror Doom says again, stepping closer. He holds out a hand. Roots twitch along his fingers, hungry. No, Victor Doom says. A simple word, heavy. Mirror Doom's eyes narrow behind the carved mask. You refused me once, he says. I killed you there. I will kill you here, break your branch, and take what I need from your corpse. He moves. Roots surge from the ground, grabbing at Victor's legs. Null snippets of rune flicker along them, tuned to his engine's pattern. Doom blasts them with a short pulse. They burn, but it hurts him too. The engine flares, pain lancing through his heart. Mirror Doom uses Victor's own style. Small, precise attacks aimed at weak points. A gravity spike tries to crush Kratos' knee. Freya deflects it with a shield of leaves that burn away. Atreus fires arrows, but Mirror Doom bends them aside with simple force fields. This is pointless, Worldbound says. I know your tricks because they are my tricks. Doom grits his teeth. Then let me show you the one thing you never learned, he says. He steps forward, ignoring the tugs of the roots in his chest. He does not try to out-tech himself. He does not reach for cleverness. He punches Mirror Doom in the face. It is a simple, human punch. There is some power behind it, yes, but mostly it is weight and anger and years of practice. Mirror Doom did not expect that. He stumbles. Kratos seizes the moment. He slams into Mirror Doom from the side, shoulder first, driving him into a root wall. Freya binds the wall with a quick spell, slowing Miradoom's movement. Atreus aims for the gap between living armor plates and fires. An arrow sinks into what passes for flesh underneath. Miradoom snarls. "You forget one thing," Victor says, stepping up to his bound echo. "I am not only armor and engine. I am the man who built them. You let the tree and fate do your thinking. I still think for myself." Miradoom hisses. "Fate thinks better," he says. "Your free will only hurt more people than it saves." Victor reaches out with his corrupted hand. He presses it against Miradoom's chest, where the engine must sit in that body too. Pain explodes in both of them. Roots flare, threads twist. For a second they share visions. Worlds guided into peace, worlds crushed. Latveria free, Latveria enslaved. "I choose risk," Victor says through gritted teeth. "I choose to let my people make their own mistakes. I will bleed to protect that, not to steal it from them." He pushes, not taking, breaking. Miradoom screams. His living armor cracks. Roots catch fire. The shape shudders, then dissolves into a storm of glowing threads that whip back into the branches of Yggdrasil. The tunnel shakes. The root walls groan. A voice, not quite male, not quite female, echoes around them. "Enough," it says. "Reach the throne." The glowing path ahead brightens. The roots behind them seal, cutting off any chance for more delay. Freya breathes hard. "The Norns have spoken," she says. "They could have stopped that echo sooner. They let it test you. Now they demand we go on." Atreus looks at Doom. "Are you okay?" he asks again. Doom sways, then steadies. He is pale under the mask. His chest pain is worse, but his eyes are clear. "I am still Doom," he says, "and I'm no one's puppet. Not Odin's. Not any fate's." Up to now, they've sailed and climbed toward the Well of Erd, faced a mirror foe Doom, who offered a better path of total control. And Doom has refused, even though it cost him more pain, earning a direct summons from the Norns themselves. The path opens into a vast cavern under open sky. At its center lies the Well of Erd, a calm pool of dark water, reflecting stars that are not in the sky above. Around it rise huge roots of Yggdrasil, thicker than towers, twisting up and out of sight. Built into those roots is a citadel of fate. It is not like Asgard's grand halls. It is stranger. Woven platforms, bridges made of frozen light, pillars of carved ice and bone, all holding tapestries made of living threads that move and change. Valkyries stand guard at the outer edges, armor gleaming, wings folded. Their spears hum with power. Around the well itself, robed figures sit and stand, faces hidden by hoods. The Norns, or their many aspects. The air is heavy. Power presses down on Doom, pushing on his engine, on his heart. His armor dims, his steps slow. Kratos, Atreus, Freya, and Doom walk along a bridge of rune light toward the central platform. Mimir whispers an explanation. "This is your massive headquarters, lad," he tells Doom softly. "Not Avengers Tower, not some flying ship, but the core of how this world thinks. The Norns don't just see fate, they shape how everyone believes it works." As they approach, Valkyries lower their spears. Their power pushes like strong wind. Doom feels his shields compress. His blasts, if he tried them, would be thin. One Valkyrie speaks. "Your powers are dampened here," she says. "No wild tearing, no easy tricks. You enter as supplicants, even if you pretend otherwise." Kratos nods. He respects power when he sees it, even if he hates it. "Atreus," he murmurs, "stay close." They step onto the central platform beside the well. The water is still, but images drift on its surface. Flashes of past battles, future wars, faces known and unknown. 3 figures step forward from the circle of robed Norns. One is young, one is middle-aged, one is old. They flicker, trading places, as if they are 3 and 1 at the same time. "You tear at our roots," the young one says, voice sharp. "You bind foreign metal to our branches," the middle one adds. "You break Helheim's ice and twist Alfheim's light," the old one finishes. Doom stands tall. He does not kneel. He cannot bow. His pride will not allow it. "I am Victor von Doom," he says. "My world burns in futures I have seen. To save it, I built a device that touches your tree. I have made errors. I am here to correct them, not to seek your permission to save my people." The Norn's eyes glitter. "You speak as a god," the young one says. "Full of intent," the old one says. "Blind to your own threads," the middle one says. Freya steps in. "Honored Norns," she says, "this man's engine now binds to your roots and his heart. If he continues to use it without knowing the limits, he will tear fates and realms, give us rules, show us how to move without breaking what cannot be fixed." The Norns turn to Kratos next. "You who killed your own fates," the young one says. "You who broke Greece's threads and dragged your curse to these realms," the old one says. "You think you can lecture another on restraint?" the middle one asks. Kratos' jaw tightens. "I have learned," he says simply. "Pain taught me." Atreus steps forward, heart pounding, but voice steady. "If you don't help," he says, "Odin will use Doom's engine to take your tree. You know this. You felt what he did with the Null Warden and Thor's runes. If he wins, even you will be trapped in his story." Silence. The water in the well ripples. The Norns smile, all at once. "Our supreme authority is the tree itself," the old one says. "We can guide, but we do not rule," the young one lies. "We enjoy your fear," the middle one admits. They look at Doom again. "3 paths lie before you," they say together, "but you are not ready to see them yet. First, you must know what you can and cannot do in this branch." They lift their hands. Threads rise from the well, thin and bright. Some sink into Doom's chest. He gasps as they touch the engine. Images flood his mind. Limits, lines, costs. Power scaling interlude 2. The Norns show Doom that from now on he can only use the engine in 3 narrow ways, bridging between close realms, sealing tiers he himself made, or focusing power into a single, sharp strike. But each use will cost him a memory of Latveria, a piece of who he is. And if he tries to push beyond those limits, the tree will fight back by turning his body into a conduit, burning him from the inside out. They make clear that he cannot touch the core of Yggdrasil without their consent, cannot rewrite other beings' fates directly, and cannot fully hide his actions from Odin's sight, only blur them for a time. Doom sways, then steadies. The threads withdraw. He feels the new law in his bones. "So," he says slowly, "you will allow me to use my engine, but only within lines you draw. Each time I lose part of myself, and I can never rip your roots to change others' paths. Only seal the damage I have done and move myself and my allies." "Yes," the Norns say. "Your hubris needed a ceiling," the young one says. "Your fear needed a mirror," the middle one says. "Your heart needed a cost you care about," the old one says. "What do you mean?" Atreus asks. "A cost he cares about. We could take his strength," the young one says. "His pain tolerance," the old one adds. "His pride," the middle one muses. "But those things he would simply push through. Memories of home, of why he fights. Those he cannot replace. Each use will make him ask if this fight is worth forgetting the faces he claims to protect." Doom goes very still. He thinks of his mother, his hometown, his first throne. The idea of losing them, even only in his own mind, makes his chest clench. Kratos watches his reaction. "This is the burden," he says quietly. "The blood price logic you asked for, boy," he adds to Atreus. "To fight, you must give up the thing you hold closest, not just your body, your soul." Freya looks at the Norns. "And if he obeys your limits," she asks, "what then?" "Then the tree will bend, not break, when he uses it," the Norns answer. "Then Odin will find his grip less sure. He carved his ego into runes. We now carve our conditions into this one's heart. Balance of a kind." They step back. The well stills. "This audience is done," the young one says. "Not yet," Doom says. He steps closer to the edge of the well. Valkyries tense. Kratos and Freya both move, ready to drag him back if needed. "I will leave your roots as whole as I can," Doom says. "I will accept your limits for now. Not because I bow to you, because I see that without rules, I may become what I hate. But know this, if the choice stands one day between my world and your comfort, I will still choose my world." The Norns smile thinly. "We know," they say. "We have seen it. We are curious which choice you will make when there are no clever solutions left." A thread of light touches Doom's forehead. For a moment, he sees 3 vague shapes at the edge of his mind. 3 paths they will soon show him, 3 futures. Then it is gone. "Go," the Old One says. "Reach the throne you care about, your own. Stop Odin from stealing both your engine and our tree. Then return, and we will see if you are still yourself enough to choose." A Valkyrie gestures. A bridge of light forms, leading back toward the mountain path. Kratos turns to go. Freya follows. Atreus lingers, looking back at the well, then at Doom. "Do you really accept this?" the boy asks. "Losing your memories every time you help?" Doom's voice is quiet. "I accept the need for limits," he says, "but I will search for ways around the worst of them. That is who I am. I will not pretend otherwise." "At least you're honest," Atreus says. He jogs to catch up with his father. As they leave, the citadel of fate looms behind them like a silent watcher. The camera pulls back to show the well, the Norns, and the huge roots of Yggdrasil wrapping everything like a cage and a skeleton at once. Up to now, they have reached the core citadel around the well of Urd, stood before the Norns as supreme authority, and Doom has accepted harsh new limits on his engine, each use costing him memories of home, while Odin still schemes to claim both the device and the tree. They descend the mountain in silence. The air feels thinner. Every step back toward Tyr's temple feels like a step deeper into a war no one wanted. On the shore of the Lake of Nine, Brok and Sindri wait by the dock, fidgeting. The dwarves look up as the boat returns. They see the new weight in Doom's shoulders and the tight line of Kratos' jaw. "Well," Brok calls, "did the thread hags bless your shiny toy or curse it?" "Both," Atreus says. His voice is tired, but his eyes are clear. They set limits. Doom can't just rip the tree anymore. But every time he uses his engine, he loses a piece of his home in his own mind. And Odin still wants to take everything. Sindri winces. "That sounds terrible," he says. "I mean helpful, but also terrible." Doom steps off the boat. He looks up at the sky. The green ring is thinner now, but sharper, like a knife wound healing wrong. "Odin will move soon," Freya says. He felt Helheim scream. He felt the Norns twist Doom's fate. He will not wait for us to decide what to do. He will strike at the last anchor and the engine itself. Mimir groans. "Aye," he says. "And there's only one place left where that makes sense. Asgard. He'll have woven his own roots around the engine's last bond, trying to pull it onto his throne. Kratos turns to Doom. "Can you take us there?" he asks. "Past his guards? Past his Bifrost? Straight to where he works?" Doom studies the temple, the sky, the ring. He feels the engine in his chest throb. Threads tug at him like invisible wires. "Yes," he says, "within the limits the Norns set. I can bridge us from this hub to the edge of Asgard, where the tree's branches touch his city. But it will cost me. And once we are there is no quiet, escape. We will be in the All-Father's jaws. At least we will be biting his tongue," Brock mutters. Atreus steps closer to Doom. "Is Latveria worth this?" he asks softly. "Losing your memories, risking becoming part tree, part weapon." Doom's answer is simple. "Yes," he says. "My people are worth more than my comfort. And if I do nothing, Odin will still use my work to hurt your realms. This way, I may save both." Freya nods once. "Then we go," she says, before Odin tightens his grip. They move to the temple's central platform. The Lake of Nine reflects the broken sky around them. Brok and Sindri work the levers. Bifrost lines light up underfoot, tracing paths between realms. Doom stands at the center, over the engine's faint echo. He closes his eyes. He whispers the shape of Latveria in his mind, his castle's sharp towers, the mountain snow, the sound of his people's market. "I do this for you," he says under his breath. Then he reaches into the engine. Green light bursts from his chest, running down his arms into the floor. The Bifrost paths twist. They bend away from the normal routes and curve up, toward a new point in space. Asgard, gleaming and distant. Pain punches through his skull. He feels something tear loose in his mind, like a page ripped from a book. He tries to picture his mother's face. It comes blurry now. He can remember her voice, her hand on his as a child. Her eyes, her exact smile slip away. He does not cry out. He simply breathes harder. The air around them becomes a column of mixed light, blue, green, white. Kratos grips the axe. Atreus clutches his bow. Freya's magic wraps around them, a second skin. The temple vanishes. They shoot upward, through branches of Yggdrasil between worlds. When the light fades, they stand on a golden bridge in the sky. Below them, Asgard spreads out. High halls of stone and gold, banners snapping in cold wind, walls lined with Einherjar warriors. At the center rises Odin's great hall, Valhalla, its roof made of overlapping shields, its gate a wide mouth. Around the hall, new structures twist, rune pillars carved with green lines, engines of Asgardian design holding glowing branches of the world tree like chains. In the middle of that mess, Doom feels a sick, familiar pulse. "The last anchor," he says. "Odin has wrapped it in his own devices. He seeks to pull the engine out of me and make it his throne's heart." Trumpets sound. Einherjar line up on the bridge and walls. Valkyries take to the air, wings shining. At the far end of the bridge, Odin himself steps out of his hall. He wears plain robes, not armor. His spear, Gungnir, rests in his hand. His one eye glows bright. The other socket is shadow, filled with knowledge. Thor stands at his side, hammer in hand, jaw bruised where Kratos hit him in Helheim. Two more Null Wardens stand near the rune engines, motionless for now. Odin raises his free hand. His voice carries across the bridge. "Kratos," he says. "Freya, boy, talking head, and our guest from beyond. Welcome to Asgard." Atreus' stomach knots. He remembers other visits here, other lies. He grips his bow tighter. "You will not take the engine," Kratos calls. His voice is a low thunder. Odin smiles. "I already have it," he says. "Look." He gestures to the rune pillars. Green light flares. The pulse in Doom's chest rips outward, connecting his heart to the machines like threads. Doom staggers. He feels his own power being used as a nail, pinning Yggdrasil's branch to Asgard's throne. "You see," Odin says smoothly, "you brought a delightful toy into my yard, Doom. It would be rude of me not to play with it. With your help, I can guide not just these realms, but your own. So many worlds, all safe under my wisdom." Freya's eyes blaze. "You call it wisdom," she spits. "I call it chains." Odin shrugs. "Chains, roots, rules, names," he says. "What matters is order. No more wild gods breaking what they like. No more mortals dying in pointless wars. I will write better stories, and you, Doom, can help me." Doom straightens slowly. Every breath hurts more now. Threads tug at him from the rune engines. "You offer the same bargain as my echo," he says. "Control everything. Prevent every mistake. Put every being in a cage and call it kindness." Odin's smile is thin. "Your echo was crude," he says. "I am not. I understand compromise. I would leave your Latveria some freedom, Victor. Let you rule it as you like, as long as you answer when I pull on our shared roots. You could save them all. Never lose another child, another city, another war, ever again." Atreus looks at Doom, heart hammering. He hears the lure in Odin's words. He knows how close it lands to Doom's deepest fear. Kratos meets Doom's eyes. "This is the test," Kratos says quietly. "Choose as I once chose, and you will become what you hate." Doom thinks of the Norn's terms. Every engine used means a lost memory of home. If he takes Odin's offer, he might keep Latveria physically safe, but lose it piece by piece in his own mind, until it becomes only a name. He lifts his chin. "I will not trade my people's freedom for your leash," Doom says. "And I will not let you use my work to fix other worlds into your shape. You are not fate. You are not Doom." Odin's eye hardens. "Then you are a threat," he says, "and threats must be removed." He slams Gungnir into the bridge. Power erupts. Einherjar charge. Valkyries dive. The Null Wardens awaken, their runes glowing with a mix of grey and green. The battle for the engine begins. Kratos rushes forward, meeting the first line of Einherjar with axe and fists. He moves like a storm. Each hit a clear, sharp beat. Atreus runs behind him, firing arrows into weak spots between armor plates. Freya raises walls of thorns and blades of wind, tripping warriors, turning Valkyrie dives aside. Mimir shouts warnings, calling out flanking moves, old Asgardian tactics he remembers. Doom stands at the center of it all. His armor flickers. The rune engines pull at his power, trying to drain it away into Odin's network. He cannot blast freely. Every big spell would feed Odin's grip. He must be careful. He must use the engine within the Norn's limits. First use a bridge. He focuses on the space between the Null Wardens and the rune engines. He bends the path of the Bifrost in a small, sharp curve. A pale beam snaps into existence for a heartbeat, connecting the bases of the two Warden platforms. For that moment, their null fields cross and cancel each other. Freya sees the narrow window. "Now!" she cries. Kratos hurls the Leviathan axe. It flies through the temporary gap between the Warden's auras. It hits the nearest rune engine's core. The engine explodes in a shower of gold and green sparks. One of the threads from Doom's chest snaps, recoiling from the ruin. Pain lances through him. He gasps. A memory rips free. He can no longer recall the name of the street where he grew up. He can picture it, stones, a corner shop, a fountain. But the name is gone, replaced by a blank. He staggers, but stays upright. Thor flies in, Mjolnir blazing. He swings at Kratos, hammer runes flaring null grey and storm blue. Their clash is pure spectacle. Frost and thunder, sparks flying, bridge stones cracking. Einherjar around them fall back, giving space to the gods. Odin watches from the far end, staff in hand. He stretches out his free hand and tugs. The remaining rune engines flare. More threads clamp down on Doom's heart. Second use, a seal. Doom sinks his will into the engine. He finds one of the new Asgardian branches Odin has grown around the anchor, a crude fake root. He slams a seal on it. Not a tear, a choke. Green light runs along the branch and hardens into a band. The flow of power stops there, cut off from the main root. Odin's eye widens. He feels the sudden block. "What are you doing?" he snarls. "Fixing my mistake," Doom says through clenched teeth. "And yours." The cost hits him. Another memory tears free. He can no longer recall the taste of Latverian bread. He knows they have bakeries. He knows he once loved a certain sweet roll as a boy. The flavor, the smell, vanish. He sways, knees almost buckling. Atreus sees. "Father," the boy calls over the clash. Doom's losing himself. Kratos glances back, sees Doom kneeling. He also sees Odin drawing power for a wide strike, aiming to blast all of them off the bridge. Kratos makes a choice. He breaks from Thor for a heartbeat, slamming the god of thunder aside with a heavy shoulder. He runs back toward Doom, raising the axe. "Odin!" Kratos roars. "If you want a throne of stolen roots, you will have to stand on my corpse first." He hurls the axe at Odin's chest. Odin laughs and flicks Gungnir. The spear's power bends space, turning the axe aside. "Brave," Odin says. "Stupid, but brave." The deflected axe slams into one of the Null Wardens instead. The blow, half luck, half Doom's quiet adjustment of its path, cracks the Warden's chest. Its field flickers. Freya seizes the chance. She sends a sharp curse into the crack. The Warden collapses, runes dimming. Valkyries dive at her. Atreus shoots two from the sky. Their wings fold. They crash into Einherjar ranks, scattering them. Thor charges back into Kratos, enraged. They trade blows that shake the bridge. The battle is a blur of motion. A lineup of heroes and foes locked in a vast, messy fight. It looks like one of those big Marvel shots. Doom, Kratos, Atreus, Freya, dwarves firing weird gadgets from a distance, all facing waves of Asgard's might under a torn sky. But in the middle of it, the real war is over the threads between Doom's heart and Odin's machines. Odin lifts his spear. "I grow bored," he says. "Enough games. I will rip the engine out of your chest, Doom, and wear your mask as a trophy." He thrusts Gungnir toward Doom. The spear's power lances along the threads, turning them into a spear of light aimed inward. If it hits, it will tear the engine, and Doom's heart, out in one move. Doom knows he only has one use left in him before the engine burns him hollow. The Norns were clear, pushed too far, and Yggdrasil itself will use him as a fuse. He can use that last charge to save himself, to push Odin's spear away. Or he can use it to strike higher, at the whole knot of Asgardian roots and engines, cutting Odin off from the tree, and maybe from Latveria's path too. He hears the Norns echo in his mind, 3 vague futures. He hears his mother's voice, already faint. He hears his people's trust. He chooses. Third use, a strike. Doom reaches not for defense, but for the center of the knot. He sends the engine's last full surge straight up the threads into the heart of Odin's network. Green light explodes from his chest, racing along the branches into the rune engines, into the fake roots wrapped around the anchor. It hits Odin's hand through Gungnir. For a heartbeat, Doom and Odin are both connected to Yggdrasil in the same way. They both feel 1,000 lives. They both see possible futures. Then the surge turns. Doom flips the signal. He uses the Norn's rules as a guide, not a cage, shaping the blast to sever connections instead of remake them. The fake roots snap. The rune engines shatter. The main anchor shrinks back into his chest, no longer reaching into Asgard's walls. Odin screams. He feels his grip on the tree slip. Gungnir's glow fades by half. The cost hits Doom like a hammer. He loses a flood of memories at once. The faces of his first teachers, the exact layout of his castle, the sound of Latverian music in winter, festivals. All blur, go grey, then vanish. He falls to his knees, armor smoking. The engine in his heart is dim, rattling, but intact, and no longer bound to Asgard. The bridge shakes. Without the extra roots, Asgard's connection to the green ring weakens. The tear in the sky begins to close, edges knitting. Thor staggers, looking up. Odin, he calls, suddenly less sure. Odin grips Gungnir with both hands, breathing hard. His age shows more now. Lines on his face deepen. This changes little, he snarls. I still rule. I still have armies. I still have... A rumble cuts him off. Far above, the branches of Yggdrasil creak. A shower of golden dust falls around the bridge. The tree itself sends a sign. A root the size of a tower bursts from the side of the mountain, smashing through part of Asgard's outer wall. It coils around the green ring in the sky, squeezing. The breach shrinks, forced into a thin, controlled channel that runs straight down into Tyr's temple, away from Asgard. Freya's eyes widen. The tree, it shifts its weight, she says. It pulls Doom's path away from Odin. Mimir laughs, delighted. Aye, he says. The Norns must have nudged, or maybe the old tree simply hates being leashed by one eye. Odin sees the root block his reach. He realizes his chance to seize the engine fully has passed. He snarls. He slams Gungnir down, sending a shockwave that knocks everyone back. Then he gestures sharply. Thor, he snaps, inside now. Thor glares at Kratos, hatred and grudging respect in his eyes. This isn't finished, he growls. He grabs Odin's arm. Bifrost energy flares around them. They vanish in a beam of light, retreating into Valhalla's depths. Einherjar waver. Some drop their weapons. Others back away, unsure without their All-Father right in front. One Valkyrie lands between the heroes and the retreating soldiers. She looks at Doom, at Kratos, at Freya. This is Asgard, she says. Not all of us chose Odin's way. Some of us saw what he meant to do with that engine. You have cut his grasp. Leave now, before he regroups. You have won this round. Do not spend it dying on this bridge. Kratos looks like he wants to press the fight anyway. His blood sings for an end. Freya lays a hand on his arm. No, she says quietly. This is enough for today. Atreus helps Doom stand. The man in armor is heavy, but the boy does not let go. We pulled the engine out of Odin's hands, Atreus says. We closed the breach, mostly. We can't fix everything at once. Doom's voice is rough. Yes, he says. He looks at the Golden City, at the hall where Odin hides. I will be back, he whispers. Not yet, but one day. They retreat down the bridge. Doom uses no power to leave. Freya opens a path with her magic, connecting the golden bridge to a lower branch of Yggdrasil that leads back to Midgard. Asgard's warriors watch them go, some with hate, some with awe, some with a strange hope. The scene lingers on the broken rune engines and the shattered fake roots. Asgard is wounded, not destroyed. Odin lives, but his first grab at the tree has failed. Up to now, Doom has refused Odin's offer, fought alongside Kratos and Freya in a huge clash on Asgard's bridge. used the engine 3 more times within the Norn's limits to cut Odin's fake roots, and paid by losing more of his memories of home. But he has kept the engine out of Odin's hands and forced a retreat. They return to the Well of Erd. The path through roots and memory feels shorter this time. Or Doom simply has fewer memories for the path to grab. The citadel of fate is just as they left it. Valkyries at the edges, Norns around the well, threads moving like slow snakes. Kratos walks with shoulders back, wounds ignored. Freya's magic is dim but steady. Atreus is tired, but his eyes are bright with a hard-earned calm. Doom moves like a man both hollow and full. His heart rattles, but the engine is stable. He knows less of Latveria now, but he still remembers why he fights for it. The Norns step forward. They have no need to ask what happened. They felt the shocks in the tree. You cut Asgard's grasp, the young one says. You used our limits, the middle one says. You paid the price, the old one says. Doom stands at the edge of the well. His reflection in the water looks older, even behind the mask. You said you would show me 3 paths, he says. I have done what you wished. Odin is blocked for now. The breach is bound to this temple instead of his throne. Now I demand what you promised. The Norns smile all at once. Very well, they say. Watch. The water darkens. 3 images rise from it, side by side. They are clear and simple. In the first, Doom walks back through the green ring into his own world. The engine in his chest dims, threads to Yggdrasil thin and snap, leaving only a few faint lines. Latveria stands. The threats he feared still come, but he has knowledge now, and some tech he can recreate without the tree. He fights them, wins or loses by his own world's rules. But as he walks his streets, some faces do not recognize him. Some events do not match his memories. The cut threads have changed small things. The Latveria he returns to is not exactly the one he left. If you go home and close the way, the young Norn says, you will be mostly free. The engine will be weaker, safer. Your world will still face its storms. You will not have the tree's full strength, but you will be there in person to lead. Some of your memories will never return. Some timelines will shift. You may save much. You may fail in new ways. Doom watches. His chest aches. In the second image, Doom remains in the 9 realms. He walks alone through branches, a caped figure between worlds. He uses the engine often, bending paths where he thinks they must go. He helps some races, crushes others, reshapes borders, stops wars before they start. Without the Norn's consent, his strikes hit hard. He begins to burn from the inside. His armor blackens. His heart glows too bright. The realms start to depend on him. They stop making their own plans. When he disappears for a time, chaos erupts. In this free agent path, the middle Norn says, you act without law but your own. You will save many for a while, but your very presence will break the balance. Factions will rise to worship or kill you. You will likely die, and when you do, the mess you leave will hurt more than the fires you put out. Atreus swallows. He does not like this vision. It looks too much like the mirror Doom they fought. In the third image, Doom stands at Tyr's temple in Midgard. The green ring is gone. In its place, a controlled pillar of light connects the temple to the roots of Yggdrasil. Doom is older. He wears his armor, but its glow is softer. Symbols of the tree and his own mask are carved together on his chest plate. Kratos, Freya, and Atreus stand with him. So do dwarves, elves, and even some Valkyries. They argue sometimes loud and sharp around a map of branches and worlds. Doom listens. He still makes decisions, but he does not act alone. Sometimes he steps through a controlled gate into his own world. He appears in Latveria, gives counsel, lends power within strict limits. He leaves again, letting his people rule their own days while he guards the border between worlds. Each time he uses the engine, a small memory fades, but his friends help him reclaim some pieces with stories. He writes records. He lets others hold part of his burden. In this sanctioned path, the old Norn says, you become a warden, not a king of fate, not a wild breaker. You stand between worlds, under terms written by more than just you. You lose much of your freedom to act on impulse, but your reach can be greater and your damage smaller if you honor the rules. The images fade, the water stills. Silence hangs over the well. Doom thinks, he is not quick here. He owes these choices more than speed. If I return, he says slowly, I may save Latveria, or I may fail, but either way, I abandon the damage I caused here. Odin will heal and try again. Another god, or another doom from another branch, might use this path later. I will have solved only my piece. Freya nods, sad but fair. If you stay as a free agent, she says, you will become the very thing you fear, a god with no leash. I will fight you someday if you take that road. Doom does not argue. He knows she is right. He looks at the third path again. I do not enjoy being bound, he says. It goes against every part of my pride. But I have seen what happens when I and others like me are left without checks. Even I, especially I, can become a tyrant in the name of safety. Kratos watches him closely. This is the moment he has waited for, the point where another god decides what kind of being he will be. I will take the third path, Doom says at last. I will become your warden, but on terms we all agree to, not only yours. The Norns tilt their heads. State your terms, the young one says. Doom lifts his chin. First, he says, I will not rule your realms. I will not sit as king in any of your halls. I will only act across branches when at least one voice from your side calls for help. Kratos, Freya, Atreus, or another trusted guardian you name. And when my own world's survival is also at stake. No more saving others who do not ask. Second, he continues, my engine will be used only in 3 ways, as you have said, to bridge between close realms, to seal tears I made, and to strike at threats that touch multiple worlds. No rewriting of fates, no bending whole peoples into patterns of my choosing. Third, he says, when I return to Latveria between tasks, I will rule as I always have, but I will allow a council to watch me, a group who know of this tree and of my bond. They will hold records of the memories I lose, so that my people's stories do not vanish from the world, even if they leave my mind. He pauses. His voice softens just a little. And fourth, he says, if I break these terms, you will cut me off. Sever the engine. End me, if you must. Better that than let me become another Odin. Atreus' throat tightens. This is a heavy, self-chosen doom. The Norns study him. Threads shift. The well ripples. You are at last speaking like one who knows he can be wrong, the middle Norn says. This pleases us, the young one says. This frightens us, the old one adds. Kratos steps forward. My terms, he says. The Norns raise eyebrows. Bold, the young one says. But expected, the middle one adds. Kratos looks at Doom. You will not drag my son into your plans without my consent, he says. You will not use this bond to dodge the cost of your choices. When something must be done, you will stand in front, not hide behind others. I have seen gods put their burden on children and mortals. I will not watch it again. Doom nods slowly. I accept, he says. Doom does not hide behind the weak. Freya speaks next. And my terms, she says. You will not use the tree to spy on hearts and minds. Paths and tears, yes. Thoughts, no. We have had enough of Odin's eyes in every shadow. You will guard doors, not watch every room. Agreed, Doom says without hesitation. I have no desire to be a spy of every thought, only a shield at the edge. Atreus shifts his weight, then gathers his courage. I have one too, he says. The Norns smile, amused. Of course you do, little god, the Old One says. Atreus looks at Doom. You will let others remind you who you are, he says. Write things down. Let us tell you stories of Latveria, of yourself, when you forget. Don't shut us out because you're ashamed of the holes. If you carry this burden alone, you'll break. If you let us in, maybe you won't. Doom is quiet for a long moment. No one has ever said this to him before. At last, he nods. I will. Try, he says. The word is hard, but he means it. The Norns confer without speaking. Threads twist, weave, settle. It is done, they say together. A circle of light rises from the well and wraps around Doom's chest. His armor symbols change. The mask, sigil, and a stylized world tree knot fuse into one emblem, glowing faintly. The pain in his heart flares, then steadies into a constant ache. He feels the new rules settle into place like law. He is still Doom, still proud, still dangerous, but now his might moves inside rails. Codex note. By Norn mandate, Dr. Doom becomes warden of the branch, bound to use his engine only under shared rules, losing memories with each act while guarding the borders between Latveria and the 9 realms. Time passes. In Midgard, the sky heals. The green ring is gone. In its place, sometimes, people see a brief, thin line of light over Tyre's temple when the warden passes between worlds. The farmer by the Lake of Nine, the one who once bowed to Doom on the bridge, tells the story to his grandchildren. He fell from the sky in armor of iron and fire, the old man says. He was not a god, not like the ones who toy with us. He was something else. He broke the dead and argued with gods and walked into the roots of the world. Now, when the light flickers, I think he walks still. In Alfheim, the light shines clean. Elves have rebuilt part of their temple. On one wall, they paint a mural. Kratos, Atreus, Freya, and a strange armored figure pushing back a wave of shadow. They do not know his name. They simply call him the Other. In Helheim, the glacier has scars. Souls move uneasily where the anchor once lay. But the realm did not split. Hell's winds whisper less sharply now. In Asgard, Odin sits alone in his hall more often. He stares at broken rune engines and Gungnir's dimmer glow. He sends fewer troops out. Instead, he carves new plans into the bones of the world. Thor drinks more than before. Sometimes he goes to the broken bridge and looks down at Midgard, thinking of fists, axes, and a metal man who dared touch his hammer. Some Valkyries quietly consider Doom's new emblem. A few wonder if guarding things, instead of simply fetching souls for Odin, might be a better purpose. In Tyr's temple, the War Council table is busy. Kratos leans over maps of realms and branches. Freya traces lines of possible threats. Atreus scribbles notes, drawing constellations of worlds. Doom stands on the opposite side, mask on, cloak draped. His eyes glow softly behind the lenses. Broke and Sindri bring new devices and cursed coffee. Mimir hangs, giving advice no one asks for, but everyone needs. Another Tyr tried to open over Muspelheim, Freya says, pointing at a red mark. Odin tested the old paths again, At the same time, a strange energy spike hit the edge of my world, Doom says. Some new fool in armor and a cape tried to open a portal without understanding the strain. I closed both with one seal. I do not remember exactly which border village I was in when it happened, but it is written down. That will have to be enough. Atreus nods, flipping through a big book. He has been keeping a record. Latverian names, places, stories. Doom tells after each journey before they fade. We've got you, Atreus says. When you forget, we'll read it back to you, okay? Doom's mouth twitches behind the mask. Not quite a smile, but close. Very well, he says. If I must be a myth, I prefer to be one with footnotes. Kratos grunts. Remember, he says, you break the rules, and I break you. Doom inclines his head. I would expect nothing less, he replies. Somewhere deep in Yggdrasil, the Norns watch. They see Doom move along branches, not as a master of all fate, but as one heavy piece on the board, now bound by more than his own will. They whisper. Interesting, the young one says. He learns, the middle one says. He may yet surprise us, the old one says. In Latveria, on a cold winter night, people gather in a square. A portal opens above them for a moment, a circle of green light edged with soft white. Their ruler steps through. His armor is cracked in new places. His emblem now bears a tree and a mast together. He walks among his people. He listens. He fixes some problems with simple tools, not cosmic power. He leaves again, back through a controlled gate that leads to Tyr's temple and the well. A child tugs her mother's sleeve. Who is he, Mama? She asks, watching Doom vanish. He is Doom, the mother says, our king, and something more now. He fights monsters we will never see and pays prices we will never know. All we can do is live well, so his burden is not wasted. The child thinks for a moment. She looks up at the fading light in the sky. She does not see a god. She does not see a monster. She sees a symbol, a mask and a tree, together. In another realm, by the Lake of Nine, the farmer's grandchildren look up at the same moment and see the light too. They point and laugh, not afraid. Between them, in the spaces where worlds touch, Victor von Doom walks. He is chained and free. He is proud and humbled. He is dangerous and needed. He's not a hero, not exactly. He's not only a villain. He's the warden of the branch, standing at the edge of two great stories, keeping both from breaking under the weight of gods.